Austin Yoakum. This is my wife Allison. Today on Buckstorm, we are going to teach you guys how to make deer salami. This is my cheat sheet here. I'm going to make 50 pounds. I like to add jalapeno and high temp cheese, just to give it a little more flavor. But for the meat ratio that I use 37 pounds of deer meat. It can be scrap meat, it can be backstrap, whatever kind of venison you have. It can be deer, elk, whatever. 37 pounds of it. And then for pork, I use 12 and a half pounds of pork. Normally I use a pork shoulder, but pork loin was on sale, so I got pork loin. But I also have straight pork fat that I used earlier this year for my deer bacon. So I'll use 12 and a half pounds of pork loin and probably one and a half pounds of pork fat. But normally I would use a pork shoulder rather than the pork loin.
We're also going to use 4 pounds of high temp cheese, and we like the hot pepper cheese. And then we have about 11 to 12 fresh cut jalapenos that we slice and dice. And then our Excalibur seasoning that we're going to use.
And we get our Excalibur seasoning online. We order it from Walton's. They have all sorts of ingredients, everything that you can think of to make meat, they have it. We use 2 of these. Each bag makes 25 pounds. And then, yeah, so we'll go through, we'll coarse grind the venison and the pork fat, and then we will mix in our seasoning, and then we'll run it back through the grinder on a fine grind, and then after that we'll mix in the high temp cheese and the small diced jalapenos, and then after that we will stuff it. So yeah, let's get started.
All right.
I just sliced up all the pork loin and the pork fat into long strips. Makes it easy to go through the grinder. So I usually do a couple pieces of venison, piece of pork, piece of fat, and so on. That way it kind of mixes as I go. So we'll go ahead and get this started and see you when we're done. Okay, we just got the 50 pounds of meat ground up. We got the pork fat, the pork loin, and the venison. Between the two, about 25 pounds in each one. Here is the seasoning that I use. Excalibur from Walton's. Okay, so what I like to do is I usually put 1 and a half. If I end up doing two full ones, it seems like it's a little bit too salty, so it's just my preference. I like using 1 and another half of the other one. So I'll just get it spread out through the meat here. Here's the cure that we use. It comes with the packets. Okay, what I'll end up doing is just mixing it as much as I can, the best I can, and then we're going to end up putting it back through the grinder, but we're going to change out the head and we're going to put it to the fine grind. Just helps mix everything up a lot better, and then after that we will mix in our diced up jalapenos and our high temp cheese, and it should be time to start stuffing. Just got all the seasoning mixed in the cure. Now we're gonna put it back through with the fine grind on, and then we will mix in the peppers and cheese. We got the fine grind all done. Now we're putting a little bit of meat in, sprinkle some cheese, and throw in some jalapenos, and then we'll throw more meat on top and do it again. Alright, so we switched out the grinder for the stuffer. We got everything fine grind, and got the cheese and jalapenos all mixed in. I use a mahogany casing. I ordered that from Walton's as well. You can use any kind of casings that you want, but that's the kind I use. They were good for me, so we'll get this all stuffed, and we should have about 18 cases. Should make about 15 pounds or 50 pounds. So let's work begin. We got both the smokers going here. That way we can do all 50 pounds of salami at once. So what I do is turn the smoker on for an hour at 200, kind of get it heated up before I put the meat in. No wood chips are added yet. Just 200 degrees for an hour, kind of get things heated up in there. Here's where we hung the meat last night. That way it kept cool. We have both mine and David's salami up here. So next we're going to put the salami into the smoker. We'll put 2 to 3 scoops of wood chips into each smoker. I use apple wood chips. You can use hickory, mesquite, whatever flavor you want. I prefer apple. So yeah, we'll put 2 to 3 scoops in each smoker, and then we'll hang the salami 25 pounds in each smoker. So we'll start with the wood chips here. We got all the salami in both the smokers. We're going to set it down to 150 for the temp, and we are going to set it for 1 hour. And here is what it looks like inside. So we'll get them smoking and should be good.
Sausage, part 3.
Okay, so smokers have been both running for an hour at 150. Both of them have the wood chips in them. Now we're going to bump it up to 180. Bump it up to 180. on both of them, and it could take anywhere from 2 to 5 hours, but it just all depends on the temperature of your meat. So once we bump it up to 180, you can bump it up to 180 to 200. I wouldn't go over 200. Give it some time to slowly cook. But you want the internal temperature of your meat to be at 160 before you take it out of your smoker. So we're going to bump this up to 180, give it a few hours, and then we'll take it out once it gets to the correct temperature of 160. So next, what we do, once we get the meat up to 160, you take it out of the smoker, you put it immediately into an ice bath. So we have ice in this cooler, or water and ice in this cooler right here. So we'll take the salami out, put it in there, let it get cooled down as fast as it can, and then we'll take it out of the ice bath and slice and package tonight. So.
I wish I could have smell-o-vision because it smells so good.
I agree.
So good.
Okay. Salami is now submerged in the cooler. We'll let that cool down. Hopefully this next batch will be done here in the next hour or so, and do the same with the next batch. And then next we do is slice and package. So.
We hang and bang is what he meant to say.
Hang and bang.